Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to join us back again for our webinar today. And since we're talking about the tender management, and also materials management in BuildSpace Pro, so today is actually our second installment. We'll be talking about effective materials management for construction projects in BuildSpace Pro. Um, um, this is a continuity of what we had done on yesterday regarding the tender pricing and also the strategies on how to use BuildSpace Pro to mitigate the risk in tender prices. So today our focus will be more on the post-contract stage. And I believe for most of the friends that we have it here today, had actually joined our webinar last time. We talked about how to manage a post-contract, including the payments and also variations. So today, our focus will be more on how to use BuildSpace to automate your material procurement process, and especially at this particular period when we need to work from home, then you also have a team to work remotely. Then we're also talking about the go digitalizations. Then we will also want to explore the possibilities on how to digitalize and also how to go digital with all these soft copies and also online approval, and also to collaborate with other parties in our construction projects. Let us take a look at the agenda today. We're going to start with a bit of introduction with BuildSpace again, and also since we've been taking care on the tender part, and now I also want to take a look at how can we actually enhance our profitability in post-contract stage by managing our project material. Likewise, we'll still discuss about the implementation plan for contractors and for BuildSpace Pro, and then we will also leave the question and answer towards the end of the session today. So along the session today, if you have any questions you want to post it up to us, you can also write it down and then post it up. Then I will read the questions and then give you some suggestion and also clarifications toward the end of the sessions today. Okay, so we'll still start with our introduction with BuildSpace. We started in year 2000 where our CEO, Mr. Chu, the founder of BuildSpace, were actually being the sole distributor of BuildSoft in Malaysia and also the entire Southeast Asia. That is when we got involved in NETI, which is the National E-Tender Initiative, initiated by CIDB and JKR. So from there, then Mr. Chu start to know our CTO, which is Injay Aslan, and also our system architect, Injay Hasli. Then I decided to come out with our own homegrown brand for BQ system. That is when BuildSpace actually started. So in year 2012 until 2013, that was the entire R&D of BuildSpace Pro has been done, and then BuildSpace Pro was launched in 2013. So along the way, we will also have some requirement study with our friends from EcoWorld, SP Setia, SAMDABI, MRCB, Sunway to actually gather and also collect the requirements to actually enrich the platform in BuildSpace. So from there on, then we start to have another split of BuildSpace. We call it BuildSpace E-Project, and we have Gamuda start to get on board with us with the digitalizations back in year 2018. So along the way of this 3 years, then we start to see the full swing implementations in Gamuda, and also they are set up in Vietnam, including Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh. So since last year, we have a traction of investments. So this year, we actually have a rollout of marketing plans, and also to reach out to our users, and including our developers, government and also professional associations, our media partners, and as well as our undergraduates, but most importantly, our friends here today, including the contractors. So still we'll take a look at our solutions right here. So as what we have been discussed yesterday, well, most of the items we discussed yesterday was in BuildSpace Pro. That means we can actually import our BQ and also prepare BQ, do costing in BuildSpace Pro, and then we do a little bit of library management, and also request for quotations. So today, our focus of discussion will still be on BuildSpace Pro itself. We'll be taking a good look on how to do our project scheduling and also request for quotations, and most importantly, how to actually manage and monitor our stock and also inventory. And in this case, and I will take a little bit of time to explain what is BuildSpace e-project is all about. BuildSpace e-project is actually a setup based on BuildSpace Pro, where we actually manage a process and also the workflow for developers and project manager. It would be actually better if we, let's say, we illustrate based on this PowerPoint slide that we see here. BuildSpace e-project will be mostly used by developers, governments, and also project managers. Some of our main clients also be using BuildSpace e-project when they have sub-package, when they have tenders to call out, when they need to do e-tender, and also they will need a platform to manage a project in cloud. And as far as BuildSpace Pro is concerned, then it will be actually to be adopted by subcontractors, our project consultants, and also some of the contractors when their work is more on preparing BQs and also managing the project cost based on a set of BQ. So that's pretty much about the introduction of BuildSpace to give us a general idea on what is our solutions and what is our target user. And today, let us get into the subject matter itself. We'll talk about the materials management. But before I actually go in further, I just want to do up a little bit of recap of what we had done in this April. This April, we actually had a webinar to talk about how to remain profitable in our construction project. So this webinar, the whole webinar setup was actually being separated into two sessions, just two parts. The first one will talk about things that we can do in pre-contract stage. And the second part is actually in post-contract stage. So today's discussion is actually more on an extension of what we had done, and also to pick out some of the points that I think I can still share with you in post-contract stage. And most importantly is to talk about improve on the productivity. A lot of people will also overlook the idea of how does improving productivity will be able to help us to maximize project profit. But if we also take a look at the slides and also the image right here, we actually simulate a few cases right here. If for the same work of demolitions, right, then we have three options here. The first one is standard provisions. The second one is to optimize the resources by reducing the by reducing the salary, or actually lower down the qualifications that require for the similar amount of work. But the biggest savings that we can actually observe from these three options here is actually when we increase the productivity of the workers with the same provisions of number, or with the same numbers that we provide for the job itself. So since we have the formulas here saying profit equals to revenue minus expenses, so based on the same equations that we have, if let's say we reduce our expenses, then we will be able to also achieve a greater savings, and therefore to generate a bigger profit. In this case, the reason why we use the improved productivity to actually start as an introduction for the subject itself is actually project material management. As far as it is concerned in a project itself, we do see a lot of research and also information talking about how is it important and also how is it significant to actually influence our productivity on site. So before we drill down further, then let us take a look at what is the component of our construction cost right here. If we flip over this research papers and also the materials that are available, then I believe it is quite objective to actually have a saying, say, about 50 to 60% of our construction cost is actually made up by material costs. But the things that a lot of people will not know is actually the purchase cost itself is actually 40% of the material cost. That means it will only contribute about like 20 to 30% of the construction cost. But most of the cost will actually goes into your order cost, your holding cost. That means sometimes you need to have your warehouse and most importantly, the unavailability cost right here. Unavailability cost is actually incurred when a desired material is not available at the desired time. So the shortage might delay work, therefore wasting the labor resources or delaying the completions of the entire project. And that is when our productivity being actually affected by the material itself. There are some statistics which we think it will be very interesting to share with you all. If you need to have the sources, you can actually contact me privately, then we can also share with you some of the sources we got. But these are the information that we plug it on from some of the web pages online. All right, so the first things first is what we can see here is the savings of 2% of material cost here will possibly increase your profit by 14.6%. This is quite amazing. It's quite interesting to note as well. The second one is also talk about the productivity. It actually has a very, very straightforward, also direct link with the material management, saying the disruption in material management here will also result in 9% of loss of labor productivity. In that case, we're also meaning to say of what we have been discussed just now on how to securing our profit, then it will indirectly also have its impact on our project profit. So the last one we want to take a look is, let's say 2% of our total budget can be saved due to implementation of waste minimization strategies. So waste minimization strategies will also be actually achieved by a proper management of materials, including starting from planning and all the way to procurement, warehousing, and also distribution to the site right here. So I hope this statistics will give us a good preparations and also a good ground to also discuss on why material management is important. So next one we want to talk about is what is actually a material management. So material management is vital functions for improving the productivity in the construction projects. So the management of material should be actually considered at all phases of the construction process throughout the entire period. So this is because the poor material management can often affect the overall construction time, quality, and most importantly, our budget. So if we also take a look at the very nice infographic right here, it started with planning on scheduling. That means sometimes as part of the project management, then we will also start to plan when is the procurement, when is also the delivery. As some of the project manager will say, "Oh, get your material JIT." That means that means just in time. That means we only want the material to be on site and to be procured when we need it, so that our cash flow and also our reservoir of finance will not be tied up to down payments, so on and so forth. Then from there, we start to monitor and control on the building material and also the utilization itself. Organization and personnel is on the who do what and what are the roles and responsibility, and also the approval process. And this is actually quite a challenge in this period of MCO, I suppose, where of course there is not much activities to be done on construction side, but as far as approval process is concerned, as what has been pointed out by Esker in Master Builder Journal, then we also want to take a look at how this process can be automated, especially when we move things into to be working in cloud in that sense, then to speed up the process. So from there onwards, there will be procurement and billing. Then we also want to explore the possibilities on how digital document will be able to help us to streamline the workflow, to automate the workflow, so that there won't be so much time wasted on the procurement itself, and how easily our procurement can be done based on a set of BQ if we need to, then how easily all this information can be kept and also centralized in one platform. And then we also want to manage our delivery and recording as well, and warehousing. Today in today's presentation and also webinars in the flows and the functions we want to share with you in BuildSpace will be also focusing on these two parts, and how do we manage our delivery, how do we manage our warehousing, and also how do we monitor our usage and also distribution on the site. So ultimately, for all these steps that we actually need to manage right here, and that concern from starting from defining the material requirements of the project and vendor registrations and evaluations and comparisons of the prices as well, then all the way to purchasing, storage on site, and site distribution, then hopefully we will be able to reduce the time wastage, including the time that we spend to process a very tedious paperwork and also manual clerical works. And most importantly, we also want to reduce the material wastage, and at the same time to also monitor the movement of the materials in our construction site as well. Take for example, we have hundreds of tons of rebars to be sent into the site, to be delivered to the site. Then how many tons of the rebars were actually being used or incorporation to the building work itself? So from there, we will be able to actually monitor how much is the wastage will actually incur during the process right here. And up next, of course, as we mentioned just now, most of the project manager would say JIT, JIT. The first time I heard about JIT is also a bit alien to us. So along the way, we sit in the meetings, and we also project manager is kind enough to explain to us. Then with JIT is actually just in time of material availability, to basically just to make sure things is actually available on time. Then they do not want to order too early. They also do not order too late until they delay the entire process. So it has to be just in time. All right. So the next one is, of course, we do not want to have a disruptions of the supplies and also the disruptions of the material management itself to actually affect our productivity in overall. So with that being said, today back into the system of BuildSpace Pro itself, then today I want to share with you on how this project planning can be done in BuildSpace. Interesting part about having BuildSpace in place to do our project planning, it wouldn't be as complicated as Microsoft project. It will be some simple Gantt chart that we can actually do based on the BQ itself. So once we had done our Gantt chart, based on the BQ, then we will be able to also generate a project cash flow S curve right here. So from there on, we should be able to plan it out and to monitor our cash outflow, then to actually anticipate what is the likelihood of the cash that we need to get in hand for our finance and stock management. So as far as finance and stock management, then there are some RFQ we talked about yesterday. Our talk about RFQ yesterday is on how to generate a set of requests for quotations from our BQ, and it can be from our library as well. So, so it depends on how we want to use it. And from this RFQ that we send out from the system, then we want our supplier to fill it out. To fill it out and also send it back to us, then so that we can import into the system and then to form part of our library costing data. Then from there onwards, we also want to do a purchase order in digital format. And once the stock has been delivered, then we also want to monitor the stock in and stock out, and take a look at how this analytics and reporting on how to manage our stock control with material wastage and also our total project expenses in that sense. So from there onwards, then it should be giving us a general and also a clear picture on how does the materials when being purchased for the project itself will not have too much wastage in that sense. So what we had also is the post-contract administrations and record management. Then we won't touch much today. And costing library and tendering estimating has been discussed yesterday. We will send out the video link for you to just recap on the costing and library manager here. All right, so let us come to the system that we have for BuildSpace Pro when it comes to the post-contract stage. This is what it looks like when it comes to post-contract stage. That means our BQ is here, and then our up-to-date claim that I believe it is quite familiar and also quite you guys are quite familiar with the layout already, especially for those friends who actually follow us through a couple of sessions of webinars. It is always like this. All right, so what I'm going to show you right here from project management modules here is actually the first thing is our project planning on the Gantt chart and also the S-curve projections. What we can do from, let me zoom in up a little bit. What we can prepare for your project is actually a series of activities, and most importantly, this chart will be automatically being generated. But first of all, what we need to do is actually to tell the system, okay, how many days we need it to be done, then when is the start date, end date, so on and so forth, and completion date, then we should be able to have the total cost right here. But beyond that, we also want to see how is it being tagged to a BQ item. That means a frame here being tagged to columns and the rebars and formworks. And most importantly, as a contractor, to monitor our productivity and also the numbers against the worker that to bring in, then we can also put in the informations into the Gantt chart itself. So this is how we tie the BQ. This is how we tie the BQ and also the Gantt chart together. So what it has been done, right? What we do now here is there is these two charts here. The first one is cost versus time. Another one that we want to share with you is actually an accumulative cost. So what we have in accumulative cost here is something like what we always call an S-curve. So when the S-curve has been prepared by BuildSpace and to be tied to a BQ item, then it somehow and somewhat meaning to say this S-curve will be more objective in that sense because it will reflect the actual scope of work. But most importantly is by looking at this cost versus time here, as you can see right here, it actually has two peaks from the tabulations and also from the mapping according to BQ. So accumulated cost and also the cost versus time will also give us a lot of information to know when and how much to spend along the course of the time. So once the planning of the procurement and also the activity has been done, then we can also zoom in to how to actually monitor our procurement right here. So there is this module in BuildSpace Pro we call finance module. This is where we keep all this company. This is how we keep all this our vendors and suppliers registrations here. Let me open up, say, one of the suppliers that we have, including the address, including the branches, if we have any, and other informations that we have. Then the contact person. So that means your list will always be up to date. So I'm going to share with you on how to actually send out the request for quotation based on the project itself. As you can see, the request for quotation that registered right here with the RFQ number then associated to the project name and also number of the suppliers and the status right here. That means it will also give us some information on what are the request has been made so far. Then if we can also take a look at this type right here, so that means this RFQ is actually based on the project of this. And if we have resources right here, it's actually meaning to say this request for quotation is actually based on the materials and also the resources from the library that we have. That depends on how we want to use it. But today our discussion will be done based on the project itself. So what I'm going to do right here is to open up to create an RFQ and to assign this RFQ to the project that we have. Let me open now. Say we want to assign to this project here, for example. So we'll just click it, and then a prefix is actually fixed, and then the running number will be automatically generated. So we will have an RFQ number of AA, then with the running number of 6. Then from here, we just double click, then to come in. So from here, what we need to do is just to click from project resources. Remember yesterday when we did our build up rate, right? We actually break down all these items and also our resources, right? And it will be very useful for you when it comes to procurement or management, because what we need to do is just to select what are those materials we want to procure, and then to copy to our request for quotations right here. So from here onwards, what we need to do is just to select a supplier. Selection of suppliers is also very straightforward in BuildSpace, especially in the situation we want to select our supplier based on location and state. So let's say we have AAY. So we also want to choose another one from Selangor, and also choose another one from Selangor. If you have SOP to compare 3 quotations that we have, we can just select. So as soon as we select from the list right here, then what we can do is just to export it out in the form of Excel. So once we export it out, we can also send it out to our suppliers by email. Then when they open it, when they open the Excel, then what they can do is actually fill out the rates that they have in the Excel. So it will look like this. So what I'm going to do now is just to bring in the rates and then save it. And then I'm going to show you how to import it in back into BuildSpace Pro. What we need to do is just to select the Excel files from the folder itself, then it is actually done. So if we also drill down to the detail that has been already been submitted back by the suppliers, then we can also change the status of the RFQ right here to become a close here. So what we have right here, and also the RFQ information, then we can also change the status of it to be closed. I mean things are actually being returned and also being updated into the library. What does it mean by being updated into the library? Is something that we have it here called Library Manager. Remember yesterday when we talked about the resources library, we were also mentioning about the latest prices of the suppliers in terms of materials, right? Let me show you this ready-mix concrete, and say ready-mix concrete G13 right here. When we double-click this item right here, then we should be able to see this Abdullah Zainas and Bahar that has actually submitted us their quotation on this date right here. So this is how easily your material prices and also your data can be actually been updated automatically into your library. So if let's say from now we're going to use this rate, let's say the highest rate, use this rate to actually compile our scheduled rates. So what we need to do is just to click here and then come to our scheduled rates here, and then come to our master here. Then we should be able to see this recalculate here. So once we click recalculate, then that means the cost estimating framework that we talked about yesterday is also being updated automatically, and it is actually quite useful for us to use it for our upcoming tender purposes. So this is how we use our request for quotation for. All right, so beyond a part of updating our rates into our cost data library, we'll also want to take a look at how does this purchase order being done based on a set of requests for quotations. All right, so now we have this purchase order here. So purchase order being generated by BuildSpace will also being captured inside the system itself. Then I'm going to share with you how does this creations of PO being done. So what we need to do is just to assign this PO into a project that we have. Okay, so associate this PO into the project, then give a PO the prefix. So the running number will always be the one that we have. So let's say the suppliers that we have is actually ABC Contractors in Bahar, then we just need to save it. So once we have this new PO being generated, been created, then we also want to also include the items from our DO, from our RFQ just now. So we can actually copy in our item from RFQ based on the RFQ that we just did, create over, then copy to our purchase order. So this is how easily we import the thing in. So from there on, what we need to do is just to key in the rate that we had agree with our suppliers. Then from there on, we can actually send it out and also to be kept in the system itself. So the PO information here, what we need to do is just to assign this currently assigned suppliers, then put in the address, so on and so forth, then also attention to, let's say, Mr. Desmond T, for example, and then give a tax name. If let's say there are taxation being applied, then the most important thing is we can also specify our payment term in the note column, so it will look like something like this. So the entire PO was actually generated. If we do not have a system in place already, then we can actually make use of BuildSpace then to generate a PO to be sent to your suppliers and also to be sent to your contractors. So what we need to do is just to click save and then change the status to be, let's say, issued or closed. All right. So once PO is done, then this is the main idea of having this PO to be done online, from request for quotations and all the way to purchase order, is basically to eliminate the hard copy documents and also to automate our manual process and workflow. So based on what we have seen just now, we can also say that a bulk of our time in order to generate and also to order the material at the part of material management process can be saved by just using these two functions right here. So assuming the PO is done and then there will be stock to be delivered to our site, then I just want to share with you how stock in can actually help us in our material management inside. As soon as we come into stock in right here, in another term which is more related to you, it could be warehousing, it could be storing of your materials, it could be your delivery of your materials. So it is actually managed and categorized and sort out based on the project name itself. And let us double click in, then we should be able to see the invoice number and selected PO number being tied together. And at the same time, we also have the supply names, invoice total, and also who is the creator and also the date of this creations. What we need to do is just to create a new invoice and put in an invoice number, take for example, 100303, for example, and select the PO to tie with, say, BB00010, then cash term to be 30 days, then we can actually save. Then we should have invoice and also PO. But what I have done so far right here, I'm going to share with you, is a PO and deal information has been done. So what we can do right here is actually to upload our invoice document as part of the document management system. Then what we need to do is just to upload it, so that at any point of time, then we need to retrieve this information, we can still download the invoice if we want to. So this is how we manage the invoice from our suppliers, and also at the same time to manage the delivery order from our suppliers by batches. So if let's say there is one materials to be delivered in a couple of times in related to one invoice, then what we need to do is just to create a new delivery order and give a date here. So having this delivery order to be kept inside BuildSpace is actually, we will also have a breakdown and also have a record of the invoice quantity and also each of the DO quantity being delivered to site. But most importantly, when having this done in our BuildSpace right here, then we should be able to monitor numbers of delivery orders. And most importantly, with this summary here, we should be able to also see how much is the balance of the quantity where the supplier is supposed to deliver to us. So from here, if let's say we can also take a look, and whenever there is a discount being given by the supplier, let's say a 7% discount, then we can also register it right here, then to rationalize it into the amount itself. So it will also give us a very, very flexible way to also control and also to manage our budgeting in that sense. Okay, so this is about the stock in part, and I will also want to share with you how about distributions of materials on site. So when we have distributions of material on site, then we will also want to monitor it based on different parts of types of the projects right here. So I'm going to still share with you this lot A88 project. Then the first thing I'm going to share with you is how to manage a stock out, how easily it has been done in BuildSpace Pro. So when we click manage stock out, then sometimes if we need, whenever there is a distribution of materials, then what we need to do is just to click a new stock out. Then from here, we will have a running number and to copy from delivery order. So this stock out item, then it will be tied to only the item from your delivery order. In that case, by doing so, right, then it will give us a very, very solid and also very, very objective trail of how do we use the material being sent to site and also to be incorporated into the building itself. So what I'm going to show you right here is, let's say I'm going to use this material of, let's say, G15 normal. So DO quantity is 11,000. Stock up quantity so far is 2,005. So we still have available quantity of 8,005. Then we can actually copy it down. And so if let's say this time around we only want to use, say, 3,000, take for example, then immediately we will be able to know we still have 5,005 meter cube available in the system or in our warehouse. So it will give us a very objective and also, and the record of how is the usage of the thing itself. If we also want to take a look on the detail that we have for, let's say, ready-mix concrete, then collectively we will have a total cost and also DO quantity. But at the same time now, the stock out quantity and balance has been updated as a summary. So in this case, for top management to come in and also to monitor the order and also the use of the material, it will be very, very automated, and it will also be very, very objective and substantiated. We also heard stories about, sometimes a lot of rebar being sent to the site and then it hasn't been brought to the work itself, and then we get reports saying, oh, this rebar is not enough. Then always we get the case saying rebar is not enough, material is not enough. So we start to check the BQ quantity, whether it has been the quantity itself has been correct or not. Then we can also use this method to also counter check our BQ quantity is correct or not. Because in BuildSpace, right, there is this report right here in post-contract report. We will be able to also generate a report called wastage report. Next. Okay, right here. So this wastage report is actually very interesting, where it will also let us know for the materials that we actually have it in our project itself. In the project itself, then what is the status of this claim? Then what is the amount of wastage that we allowed for, and also the total quantity that we have. And at the moment, for the time being, what is the claim quantity based on the progress claim that we do in BuildSpace. So from there on, we should be able to monitor in between the claim quantity delivered quantity and also the distributed quantity on site. So in the future, to be honest, in the future, what BuildSpace is trying to do is actually to link up these three reports here so that it will also give us something which is more holistic for you to justify and also for us to take a look on what is the actual movement of the materials on site. So towards the end that we have for management control right here, we're also a stocking report and also stock out report. So if let's say in the situation that we also want to compile a few report and to consolidate it out, to consolidate for any sorts of management reporting purpose, we can actually print it out from the system itself. So that's pretty much what I want to share with you on the material management. We actually start off with a project Gantt chart. Let me put this up. We actually start out with a project Gantt chart, then project S-curve, cash flow, so to do our bit of planning, then request for quotation, so on and so forth. So the idea of having this thing from the management, so everything that we need to do in material management right here, all the way to achieve, let's say, reduce time wastage in terms of procurement, in terms of our resources, and also to reduce the material wastage, and just to make sure our material is always available just in time, and most importantly, to improve our productivity. Then some of the functions that we have seen just now can be done in BuildSpace. That will including defining the materials requirements. Defining materials requirement can be actually done by extracting your BQ to form part of your RFQ. Then from there on, we send out RFQ then for our vendors to price in. Then we select them for PO purchasing and for PO purchase order, and then we continue with invoicing to be uploaded as digital copy. Then from there, we manage our storage and also to record our movement of site distributions and reporting. So the whole idea of materials management in BuildSpace Pro is actually represented in this chart. And let us move on with, so as what we have seen so far is to, of course, we do have clients who say, oh, last time we will be using Excel to do this thing, but the idea of having BuildSpace Pro in place is always to facilitate our clients' work and including automating the system, and also to streamline the workflow to actually reduce the time and also to increase the productivity by having a collaborative platform. So in order to ultimately to achieve maximizations of the project profit from the work that we were doing. All right, so we're coming towards the end of the webinars today. Then let us just go through on some of the key features that we have went through these 2 days. Today we were focusing on the resource management, especially on the time itself, and also the finance and stock management. Then yesterday we'll talk about costing library and tender estimating. So we're also seeing how these two things be linked together. And at the same time, actually post-contract stage, if you wish to know more about post-contract stage, you can also contact me myself or even contact my colleague from BuildSpace that I can actually schedule the presentation to you to share with you on how to use BuildSpace Pro to manage a post-contract stage. That means you will be using progress claim, variations order, so on and so forth. So the ultimate idea of having BuildSpace in the entire ecosystem when the clients is also using eProject is to also to eliminate and also to have a more reliable tender pricing in terms of project S-curve and also the projection, then it will be more realistic. And also having this online approval process, and will hopefully the turnaround time and also the efficiency can also be improved. Then ultimately an audit trail and also your claims can be substantiated, especially having all these records and also the documents to be stored in cloud. Then you can actually have access anywhere, anytime if you want to. Okay, so some of the clients who are using the e-project as we have shared yesterday. So I believe, like we have mentioned yesterday, we are still having discussion with a couple of developers to actually implement throughout, to have a full swing on the implementations on e-project itself. So as a contractor, then we will expect you to be involved in the tender, which is called out by BuildSpace e-project more and more in the near future. All right, so we're very excited for this one. So as what we have offered to our clients, vendors at the moment is the package that we want to also share with you and offer to you. That means by sign up by November 13th of 2020, then with the same amount of subscriptions that we have, then we will also want to increase the number of users that we have. At the same time, we will also want to extend 2 more months for you. So in that sense, you will be able to enjoy the saving of 1,000. So it's actually a double 11 promotions then for you to enjoy if you subscribe now. All right. So as far as infrastructure and support, right, then you will be getting this private cloud server by DigitalOcean. Maybe a lot of people was also concerned on the security and also the sensitivity of the data that we put in. Unlike any other SaaS platform, BuildSpace is actually giving the users a private cloud server. That means your data and also your project information stored in the private cloud server itself will be only accessible by by your company only. So that means you do not share the cloud server with any other company. So they will also increase the security of the data. What BuildSpace will do is also help you to back up and also do maintenance, regular maintenance, and also to provide you with system maintenance, upgrade, and so on and so forth. So in terms of technical support, then we will help you to set up the system and also to provide you with online trainings and unlimited access to BuildSpace materials. And at the same time, if you do have ongoing projects to be imported and also to be migrated into BuildSpace Pro, then just let us know. Then we will arrange our resources to help you to actually put it into the system itself. So in terms of users learning and support, then we have seen yesterday, this is our user guide. Webinars is actually done already. So we have 2 days. For those who actually stay with us for 2 days, I really want to thank you. I hope you enjoyed the content we put it up, and it is not very much on the BuildSpace itself, but we will also want to share with you some of the practices that and also the stories and then some of the experience that we collected from our friends and our clients. So if you really need to talk to us, then you can actually reach us at technical support at BuildSpace.my. This is the ticketing system. And if you really need to email to us, then you can also send inquiries to BuildSpace support@pck.com.my. And there are a lot more of events are coming up. Then you can actually log on to our website and to take a look, then to keep track on our latest webinars or online training. Of course, we will send an invitation to you if, let's say, we have anything. Yep. So ultimately, BuildSpace is going beyond digitalizations, and we are also taking a good look on how to use artificial intelligence and also machine learning to allow the automations of construction cost estimate and predictions to happen. We have some prelim discussions with some of clients already, so we have some setups or meetings already. So ultimately, we're heading to these directions. But with that being said, though, it will also require the users to start to accumulate your cost data now. So when this system is actually in place, then you should be able to enjoy the benefit of it already. Yeah. And before I actually start to look into the questions and we do a bit of Q&A, then I might need your help to also let us know, do you wish to be contacted to schedule an online demo presentation to understand BuildSpace Pro in detail? Then if you wish to know more about how BuildSpace can actually help you in your business, in your project management, or in your management of materials, then you can actually put a yes there, then we will also contact you to schedule an online presentation with your team. Yep. I will leave this vote for a minute or so. So that means it will give all of us an ample of time to let us know what do you think about the system. At the same time, if you have questions you want to put it out, then you can also ask now. Then after this voting, then before we end the webinars today, we will also read out the questions. Then I will also let you know some of my ideas based on the question that you posted up. All right, we will say thanks for those who are actually casting the vote, and we'll just leave it for another 10 more seconds, take for some, if we can. All right, so let me close it. Then we do have another post. I might need you also to let me know. Do you wish to, do you wish to be contacted to be enrolled into BuildSpace referral program? And then if you think some of the key features somehow amaze you, somehow impressed you, then you want to share with your friends, then you can also give it a tell us you are very interested. Then we will also register, we will also get in touch with you, then to give you some token of appreciation that will also referring to 10% of commissions of whatever transacted amount. Yeah, please let us know what do you think about the program itself. Then we will just enroll you by having a name registered in our system. So likewise, I will still leave this poll for another 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Then we will start to do our Q&A. So far, I haven't seen any question asked. So if you have, then please post it up. If you also need to have the handout and also the informations for today's and yesterday's webinar, you can also download from the handout section there. Then it will be easier for you to explain to your management if you want to. Okay. All right, let me close this vote. Then we have one question. It said about the recording yesterday. May I know when can I receive the recording link? We actually plan to send it out by hopefully by today. If it's a bit too late, then we'll be on. Can we do it on next Monday? Yeah, so we have a bit of time to download it from GoToWebinar. Then we will also have a bit of time to consolidate all the email first. But if you're in rush, also let us know. Then we can actually try to send it out for you by today or tomorrow. Otherwise, then we will sekali goose. We will send it out by Monday morning. All right. So in that sense, in that case, then all of us should be able to register the download link for the video for these 2 days webinars by Monday morning. All right. Next question is, do we getting CCD point? Unfortunately, this gentleman, no. Honestly speaking, we try to make it a CCD event, but due to some requirements and also some compliance, that BuildSpace wouldn't be able to comply to CIDB requirement. Then it seems to be a bit difficult for us to have this webinar to become a CCD event. So at the moment, we're still unfortunately, we wouldn't be able to honor you, also to award you some CCD points based on this event right here. Okay. We have another question saying, when will you organize a webinar with CPD? As far as I am aware, this year BQSM does not really require the member to actually collect CPD. That is why we stopped. In fact, back in I think back in May or back in June, then we have some CPD events going on. So halfway through, then we got a call from, and we got the circulations from BQSM, I believe. Then it says, BQSM say this year, because of this pandemic, then they somehow does not really require the member to collect CPD points for renewal. But I'm not quite sure with this one, although I'm also the member, but I also need to find out. So this lady, I will keep in touch with you to talk about this in private. All right. Next questions we have, is it possible that in future QS will be replaced by software? No. I believe you are a student, I suppose, yeah? No. Honey, no, it won't. 10 years ago, I don't know, just 10 years ago when I was a student, then I also heard about QS will be replaced by a software, but 10 years later, we still see QS around. It's just that the way we work has been improvised, that the way we work has been digitalized, but somehow the service and also the professionals and also the way we provide value-added service to our client hasn't been replaced by the software. We somewhat utilize software to actually help us to work better. All right, so don't need to worry. You just need to study hard and still be positive about your future. Don't worry. All right. Next question is there any transfer technology program regarding the software? Transfer technology program. In this case, I suppose you are referring to API. If you're referring to integrations and also the API, then what BuildSpace is always the ground that we're standing on. API is always we're open to any integrations if the client so required. All right. So, but that depends also on the other party whether they are ready or they are willing to integrate or not. In fact, we do have some conversations with another software upon request by our clients. Then there are some possibilities, but as far as BuildSpace API is concerned, then we are open to any suggestions and also collaborations. All right. And seems like today the time management is quite nice. We also keep it within an hour. Can I take the last questions if we have? Otherwise, we will just end the sessions. But we thank you for all this question that you posted out. Then it also gave us some room for discussion and the chances for exchange of idea. But for anything you need to also discuss with me in private, you can also let us know. All right. So with that, I think I will just thank you for joining. Then I will see you around until we meet next time. Then please take care of yourself, stay safe, and then drink a lot of water. Okay, bye bye.